everyone, wish you a happy week, and talk a little bit about some things that are happening in this world. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know this will be up in replay, so if you're seeing this in replay, hello. It is midday and I have service. So I thought this was as good a time as any to say hi guys, and also just kind of get on here and chit chat just a little bit. As the room's filling in, I'm going to start talking and let you guys know what's kind of on my noggin and also what's going on this week. And then we can kind of catch up as to some other things very shortly. So, first and foremost, hello. For those who are new, I am Bunny, and I am sitting in a Planet Fitness parking lot. Realistically, that is why we have good Wi-Fi. Been on the road for a while, and haven't had the best of service whenever I'm in Phoenix. Tucson was much better. However, we were just kind of out there enjoying a few days of really cool stuff, so it was action-packed the whole time. But with that said, I kind of wanted to let the room fill in just a little bit, like I said, and then we'll start chatting. There's a few things going on in the weird world today that I kind of wanted to touch on. The first of which is the fact that the weather has been insane. If you are currently traveling, please check out the weather before you do. We're currently under like 4 different flood warnings just near where our campground is. They closed one of the roads yesterday because it was very bad. And yeah, so it's like that in a lot of places right now. Hi Bart, hi Barack, hi Teresa, hello Penny, everyone, hi. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of say that in Arizona it's been weird. But I'm having a really good time. I didn't think I was going to be here as long as I am because normally the weather's hot by now. It's been pretty nice. Today is a decent day. It's 75 in the van right now. I have the air just kind of blowing a little bit. When I woke up this morning, it was like in the 60s in the van, so it wasn't anything too crazy. But last night it got kind of cold. It was like, I think it dipped down into like the high 40s last night. So for this time of year, that's not terrible. I don't mind it at all. Now, something that I did want to do that I still am not going to be able to do is go to Sedona. Sedona's flooding right now. Super fun. Lots of snow melt and then also lots of rain. So that hasn't been super promising. I really wanted to get up there and check it out because I had gone through there when I first came into Arizona, and then I never like did a video or anything. I was planning on coming back, and then they just got slammed with weather. Flagstaff, same thing. There's several things up there that I want to do. Arizona's one of them, and I keep seeing things saying basically like, yeah, there's snow. Cool story, bro. But this isn't the only place. Obviously, like California is having tornadoes, they're having floods. It's just not great in some areas. So if you are out there, be vigilant. Also, a few other things that I kind of wanted to touch on. Today is the day that they're doing the TikTok hearings. I don't know if you guys are on TikTok or not. I am. I vastly enjoy the amount of information that I get from it. I've learned about so many cool attractions as a result of it, and now they're trying to ban it, which is not cool at all. I think that I understand why they want to censor the ability for them to have our information, but, and this is just my opinion, again, I don't speak on behalf of anyone else, I just speak on behalf of myself. Every other app takes our information already. Like realistically, have you ever sat next to your phone and just been talking and all of a sudden you get an ad about what you were talking about? Yeah, they already do that. So instead of them banning it, maybe they should just call a spade and say it's a money grab, it's a power thing, and it has to do with what everything has to do with. I love it though. I think that we get a lot of connection with other people. I've heard some wonderful stories about amazing individuals because of TikTok. I've also been able to just like watch cute bunny videos. Like, come on, like it's a great combination of things, and the algorithm can actually target you as an individual and really give you some cool stuff. So I'm really not loving the fact that they're having to sit there and fight for it. And there's a few options that they have is either sell it off, which I don't think is right because you shouldn't be able to tell a company just, oh, sorry, we don't like you, bye. Also, they kind of just want to protect us, but at the same time they're not limiting other companies from selling our data. So let's just be real, that's not what it's about. It's not. So yeah, that's going on today. Super fun. Also, let's see, in my regular world today, I woke up and I didn't feel great. That's not cool, but I'm feeling a little bit better now. I'm just kind of hydrating because I think that's part of what the issue is. I didn't hydrate enough yesterday. Let's see, other than that, this week I have been rained on. I had to work at a Panera as opposed to a Starbucks, which I don't mind. The food is delicious, but at the same time, kind of just a little weird departure. I've been editing tons of videos. I have some super cool stuff that's coming very soon. The videos are beasts. A lot of times whenever I go to a place and there's so much information, I want to share as much as I can with you guys, but then I get back to the editing part and I'm just like, oh no, so that's kind of what I've been working on. Okay, so the room's filled in quite a bit, and for those who are here, hello, I hope you're having a wonderful week. Let's see, Penny, most truck stops have magazine fun places. They do. I've been seeing a lot of different things. In fact, I just filmed a video about how I find some of the attractions that I go to. I finished off my budget video yesterday, so those are all going to be coming to you guys very soon. And some people have been asking me for a kitchen video so I can show my kitchen setup, because I have several items that they're interested in and they want to kind of know how they work and stuff. So I'm going to be filming that one probably this weekend or the beginning of next week. But those are some of the things I have coming that are van related, and then I have tons of cool stuff otherwise. Again, I've really been enjoying this time. I've been able to hang out with some different friends. We've been able to hang out with Greg from Fit for Expedition a couple of times now. Of course, I've been hanging out with Brock. Riley is currently not here. I know, let me fill you in on why Riley's not here. She has a story to tell that she'll be telling on her channel very soon, but if you follow her on Instagram, you can kind of get some sneak peeks as to what that is. But she has decided to do something kind of interesting that's a little crazy, but at the same time will be super fun for a video. I can't wait to see what she comes up with. So she decided after she left Vegas that she wanted to go meet up with Chantel, Sarah, and Aaron to go to Joshua Tree because she'd never been. She went there, and then she went to Aroma of Their Own, which is a Journal of Lost Time event that they had. It's an all-women's retreat where they did a lot of cool stuff. So she did that, and then originally we were going to meet up after she went to LA to see her brother, but then this other opportunity came up, so she is not going to be meeting up with us until a little bit later. But we will be meeting up again for all of those who have been asking, where's Riley? Hashtag where's Riley? As for some of our other friends, let's see, Charles and Tony are currently on extravaganza. They went east for something that's kind of cool, and so I'm hoping that we'll be able to see them again pretty soon. Of course, that's Team Good Humans on Instagram. Go check them out because it's just a really cool message what they have going on. Let's see, Christine, which you guys met with us at Bisbee last year, she's actually going to be coming through Arizona, and so we're going to get to meet up with her pretty soon. I'm so excited. I have a list of things that I want to do while I'm here before I leave, and I've been slowly checking them off, but at the same time I just feel like there's just so much to do in this area. And so I've been asked several times, when am I going to get to green areas, or when am I going to go to the mountains that have trees? So that will be coming soon. Currently, some of those places are still having bipolar weather. For example, I noticed that, like, I go to Branson a lot, you guys know that. I noticed that Branson had a day that was 21 degrees this past week. I don't want to do that. I just don't, because that means it's going to be extra cold and gross in the van, and I just don't want to do that. I like to travel with the weather, and while the weather's still nice here, I've been enjoying that. I also wanted to give you guys an update on the wreck. Lots of people have been sending me emails, sending me messages on Patreon. They've been sending messages here, worried about me, and I am okay. I promise, guys, I'm okay. The insurance company is being slow. That's just kind of how it is. I have reached out to my insurance company, however, just to see what action I need to take if the insurance company proceeds to kind of be super slow. And they gave me some things to, do to kind of speed up the process, but also told me that if I can't get any kind of response from them, then they would handle it. I don't want to have to make my insurance have to do that work, so I'm trying to handle it without that. It's just slow. And unfortunately, this is just kind of the nature of the beast. And so it is what it is. As long as the sensor is not showing the door is open, and as long as I physically, manually am locking the door every day, I feel a bit more confident. But it still doesn't make me super happy. Let's see, a couple comments. People are asking where the ice cream reviews. So if you want to see ice cream reviews, you're going to have to go over to Brock's channel because he's the ice cream guy, not me. Yep, I'm always so cold. Um, I know, Penny, I'm super sorry. So life is just weird sometimes, and because I document everything on the channel, mostly so others can see what happens, I wanted to share the accident because I knew people need to see the process whenever you're living in your vehicle and then also something weird happens. It displaces you. Fortunately, I do have a base camp, so I will be returning to my base camp whenever I get the work actually done. But the problem isn't that. It is more so that all of the steps that go into this, like I said in the original video, it's the burden of proof unfortunately lies on the person who gets hit, and that is not fun. The system is not cool, but it is what it is. We can't really do anything about it. So I am okay though. I've been making sure that I'm stretching every day, making sure that I don't feel any additional weirdness or pain, and so physically I'm fine. Mentally I'm doing better than I was. I was super stressed out, like super stressed, because again, super far away from base camp, had an accident, and in the van, whenever it hit, it sounded much worse than it actually was. Thank goodness it didn't end up being the same amount of impact damage that it sounded like, because, oh, it was bad. It was really scary. In fact, the other woman who was in the accident, she was even super shocked that there wasn't more damage based on the speed at which we were traveling when we had to stop, and then also the sound that it made, because it was a lot. But it is what it is. We're just waiting on the insurance now. Bunny, when will you see the donkeys? I do not know. I'm super sad. I'm yet to see the donkeys. So we did actually see a donkey though, but not in the wild. So my donkey fix is not quite there yet. I just want to see them out there doing what they do. Like, I could go to Oatman and see them all day long, but I want to see them here because supposedly they're all over the place and I could hear them. That was the biggest thing. I could hear them. So yeah, there's that. Let's see. A couple of other things. Let's see. I have to do the donkey call. I'm not going to do the e-aw. No. I did have somebody who said something, actually a couple people on the video that we were searching for the burrows though. They were saying that they really related to this because they loved Eeyore, so it made them happy that we were looking for it. And I was like, yes! So, yeah, Eeyore's always been my jammy jam on Winnie the Pooh. Bunny, be careful what you say. The other insurance could twist this. You know what? Realistically, everything that's happening is factual. I have contacted the insurance. I have been told that they would return my call within 72 hours. They have not. So I am still waiting for them to return my call after a second follow through. Otherwise, like I said, I've documented very heavily all of the damage as well as the information. I have the police report in my car, and, yeah, the other girl outright was just like, yeah, it is what it is, and yeah, I hit you. So it is what it is. I can't really do anything else about that. Just need them to follow up so that we can get the adjuster out, so we can get them to look at it. My biggest concern, seriously, is the sensor. I have a friend who has a van like mine. I kind of touch on this in a video that'll be coming out soon. He had an incident where his door physically opened up while he was driving, and so that made me very nervous. So I'm just waiting for them to contact me so we don't have that problem. And my insurance actually is extremely supportive because I have a very good insurance policy, in addition to the fact that I have a wonderful insurance lady who I went to school with. And so if worse comes to worse, we will get them involved so that they can handle this, but I don't want to have the middleman. I would prefer the insurance just do what they're supposed to do and follow up. That's all. But yeah, so there's that. Let's see. I learned a lot whenever I had to see what happened with Riley because of the situation that she had, and so I made sure that as soon as I felt the impact and pulled to a safe spot, I immediately documented every single piece of it, got all of her contact information, stood there, waited for the cop. The cop then asked us to move. After the cop asked us to move, I made sure to document all of that as well, so they couldn't say that I drove away from the scene, because the police officer told us to meet him there, and then we waited. And we waited and we waited, and then we got the police report. The good news also is that because I did call into their dispatch, they have that call recorded. So again, if I did need to access that, I could, just showing once again that there's no way that they cannot cover the damage that has been done to my vehicle. Not to mention, I do have, like I said, a really positive experience with, I have Texas Farm Bureau. Texas Farm Bureau is amazing, and so they are really big advocates for their people whenever they're in accidents, so we're gonna hope we don't have to use them. Let's see. Yes, because it was an incident where I was not at fault, and it was written in the police report that I was not at fault, they should have to cover everything, including the things that are included in my policy individually, which is a rental car if I do need a rental car. So that is also an option. I don't want to have to put it into those terms with them. I would just like them to do the right thing. That's all. Let's see. Okay, other than that, let's see, some other things that are going on. We're going to Weird Wild West in Bisbee, and that's going to be next month. I'm super excited. Of course, a lot of my friends that I know currently, I met at Weird Wild West. You kind of pick people up along the way as friends, and so I've been very fortunate to have a great group that I have kind of assembled in my world, and some of those did come from the Bisbee area. Of course, we met several people, including Aussie Van Man. We also met Christine. We met Brandon there. Let's see, we met Daryl there. I got to know Charles and Tony there. I'd met them previous, but I got to actually know them there because it was just like a blip. Technically, I also met Daryl before, but it was a blip as well. We saw each other at a place, but I didn't even realize it was him, and I felt so bad after because I'm just so vigilant about like, mind my surroundings. Then when I saw him, I didn't internalize that that's who it was, so I felt really bad whenever I then later found out that, oh, it was Daryl, my bad. So, yeah. There's also a few other people that we got an opportunity to meet that I'm hoping to see again. And of course, it being a Journal of Lost Time event, they always provide really cool stuff. So I'm really excited to see what they're doing this year. It is sold out, so it should be pretty packed. And they have some great like music that they're going to have provided and stuff. And it's also during the time that Bisbee's doing their Alice in Bisbee Land. So again, this should be kind of interesting. I'm hoping to share a lot of that. And last year I did do some cool stuff while I was there, so I probably won't go back and revisit those things again, but it'll be fun to find new things to do while I'm there. So if you've been to Bisbee, let me know in the comments below. What's your favorite thing? Where did you eat? What should I do that I may not have done before? It should be a lot of fun. I'm very excited. Not to mention, this is also a sponsored Mountain House event, so I'm going to get to see my Mountain House friends there. I'm hoping that I'm going to get to see more of them there this year than were there last year. Of course, Zach and Katie, those are our big guys that are in charge of the ambassadors. They're there, and they travel kind of across the country sharing Mountain House with others and stuff like that. So that's always cool whenever I get to see them. But also, I'm hoping that a couple of the others that are from the Arizona area will show up. We'll find out, and if they are, I will make sure to feature them here on the channel. Let's see. A lot of people asked me if the crew from last year is all going to be there, and I'm not sure. I know several people are trying to make it there, so we shall see. But if they do, we'll probably do some kind of cool live or something like that. Do I ever do the beet harvest? I do not. Personally, I've never looked into it. I know several people who have, and they said it was really good money and it was hard work, but it was worth it. The One Adventure channel, I really enjoy their content. They've done it a couple of times now, and that's where I first really looked into it. I've also seen Brian, which is Adventure Van Man. He's really elaborated on it, done some great videos kind of sharing what it is and what his job was. And so those are great resources if you're looking for more information. And I think that would be a good place to start. I know that the Lost Renegades did it last year, and so I kind of documented a little bit of like their travels, kind of watching along also. So yeah, there's lots of great channels out there who have. I just personally have not. Let's see. Yeah, you're taking Mountain House on your trip next month to PNW. So the Mountain House is actually from the PNW. They're out of Oregon. So you're just bringing it on home. It's great. I love that. Let's see. You're doing it this year. Awesome. Well, good luck. You'll have to let me know what you think. Everybody who's done it seems to have good things to say about it. Like I said, I've never looked into it personally, but it does have a lot of appeal. And I might look into it in the future. I'm not sure. There's several remote jobs, and I don't even know where to start with the remote jobs. Like, I personally have several things that I do that are very different than most people, so they don't really apply to the things that a lot of people are looking for. But at the same time, like, the remote work is such a good resource for so many nomads. Again, going back to Adventure Van Man, he actually went to Alaska to do some things with Kelly, his girlfriend, and they were a part of that, and that was a cool series. I watched all of Kelly's videos because she just shows the beautiful nature in Alaska and all of the things that they've done. And then I also watched his because you get a different perspective between the two of them, and it made me want to go to Alaska even more. Maybe not to work, but just to go. I'm looking forward to going to the cheese shop in Bisbee. Oh, I did not go in the cheese shop last year, so yeah, we have to do that. I want to see what kind of cheese they have. I like me some cheese. Let's see. The patisserie, yes, the patisserie was delicious. I could probably eat at the patisserie until I am blue in the face and then go back again. It was so good. Hope I'm doing well. Any plans to travel to Canada this year? Okay, so this is the thing. Once I go back to base camp, I have been fighting through things with my passport for way too long, and I just get frustrated and then stop, and then I get frustrated and then I stop. And so when I go back to base camp, I will be taking care of my passport. I have figured out how I need to make a modification to what I am doing so that I can actually get my passport. Let me explain. I have tried to get my passport several times. I have gone to the extent of filling out the paperwork only to have it come back and be told, oh, something's missing. Looking to see what's missing. It's not something I filled out. It's something that the postmaster filled out. Gone back and forth with this a couple of times. Again, you can imagine how frustrating that would be. So basically, I just kind of battled through it and finally got my money reimbursed to me so that I could move on, because I was like, I don't want to continue to pursue this through the same place. This is so frustrating. Then I went on the road, and I don't want to do it while I'm on the road because I don't want to carry all of the documents with me while I'm on the road, just for safety. And so whenever I go back to base camp, I'll have all of that accessible to me, and then I will go and do the passport. After that, I would love to go to Canada so much, even to the extent where I would love to just go to Canada, cross over and say, yay, we did this, and then even come back. Mind you, I would like to explore Canada a lot more than that, but just the principle of the matter of, okay, I did it. Plus, I would really like to go to Banff. So, yeah, I need to start researching Banff, because I think if I start researching it, it's going to get me, ooh, and then maybe I'll just be like, okay, let's go. Let's see. Gonna start van life next month. Woohoo! That is exciting. You're gonna have a good time. Just remember, like I said in the in the other video, inch by inch it's a cinch, yard by yard, very, very hard. Take your days one at a time when you first start out. Don't get overwhelmed. It's easy to get overwhelmed when you first start out just because it's all new and you want to do everything, but just take your time and get your routines down. That's the best thing you could do. Okay, so that's the thing. Banff is the most beautiful place I have ever seen. Yes. So whenever I was doing a lot of things with the dirt, which I need to get back onto, I get overwhelmed with all the things I'm working on. So I have to dedicate time to specific projects. So I need to go onto the dirt and do all of my campground reviews that I've had in the past year. It's a lot, but I have all of them like isolated into little folders to make it easier for myself. But anyway, back to my story. Whenever I was doing a lot of things with the dirt, I met a guy who was one of the dirt rangers, whose name is Daniel. And Daniel is actually from Canada and really enjoys Banff a lot. We ended up doing Questival with Cotopaxi, and afterwards, a couple of us went up to where Daniel lives outside of Boulder, where he lived. I don't think he lives there now. And I saw all of these beautiful portraits of him in Banff, and I was like, oh, it doesn't look real. It's so amazing. It made me want to go there so badly. So I definitely want to be able to do that. So that's one of the things that's on my list of places that I will go probably very soon after I get my passport. Let's see. Good morning, Michelle. Happy to be here. Whoop, whoop. Yes. So yeah, Banff. we're going to check that one off the list as soon as we possibly can. I'm really excited about that. I still want to do a drive to Alaska also. Now, from what I was told, the best thing that I could do for that is to go in like the last part of May and make it up there into the June time, because that's going to be the best time. I'm not sure. The drive would be something that would take a lot of planning, and also I would have to figure out about the entire process of crossing into another country to cross into our country again, and how long I would have to do that. So it's going to take a lot of research. I probably will not make that trip this year. I would love to, but it probably will not happen. So realistically, I would love to do that possibly next year. Just because I think by then I'll have it all figured out. I will feel comfortable and confident in doing so, because I don't want to do anything and not dot the I's, cross the T's, and make sure that I'm not only safe, but doing it the correct way. However, something I do kind of want to do also is look into an Alaskan cruise, because then I could see the glacier faces, I could see the whales, things like that. I think that would be super, super fun. So I may do something like that if I could figure it out this year. I don't know. I've never been on a cruise before. If you guys have been on a cruise, let me know what you think about them, because I think a cruise would be super fun. At the same time, again, takes preparation and planning. So I'm trying to figure that out. You had a friend who lived in Alaska. Nice. June is indeed the best time to visit. See, that's what everyone has told me. I met this really wonderful man at Gutted a couple of years ago who's done the trip several times, and he told me June. And so after that, I took that and I definitely internalized that and realized that that's going to be the time where I need to be there. Hello, Murphy Outfitters in the house. Everyone, if you haven't seen Mr. Guy over here, you need to go check out his stuff. He sells on Etsy. That's where I have my travel bag that I really love, that you've seen on the channel, the green one. I love that thing. Cruises are awesome. 7 days, 5 islands, 2014. Nice. Super nice. Oh, someone else loved their Alaskan cruise. See, the thing that has held me back from literally doing a cruise, and this is the only thing that's held me back, is a lot of times whenever I was wanting to go earlier in my travels, the single rider tickets, it's not single rider tickets, but the single cabins, typically you have to pay for a double occupancy, except for on some cruise lines. And the problem is some of those cruise lines are very limited, so they either book up, or you have a very, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just not a great experience for a single sometimes. So I wanted to do it with a friend or with someone like a family member or something like that. And I always thought that that would be super fun. But getting someone on board at the same time that you're getting on board with something doesn't always align. And that's kind of been my head butting over and over. Not to mention, to go to Alaska, I would want to stop at some of the Canadian stops, which means I needed the passport. Same thing with anything that would go into like the Bahamas or to Jamaica or to Mexico. I would have to have my passport to get off at the stops. So I wanted to make sure that I was covered on that. So working on that right now. So I'm going to try to address that, like I said, when I get back to base camp. Let's see. Take Riley and Aussie Van Man. 3 people in a cabin is also something they sometimes frown upon. Apparently there aren't as many cabins for 3 people. You have to get like a double occupancy and then a single occupancy on most cruise liners that I've been looking at. Unless you get like a suite, in which case we are not balling on that budget. Would I ever consider making a Spotify playlist of the music that I listen to? So that's the thing. I am such a weirdo when it comes to music that it's a lot. In fact, I was trying to explain this to someone the other day. My music taste is very interesting. I listen to a little bit of literally everything. So I could be in a vibe where I am driving along listening to something that's top 40. And then I could be like, ooh, hit shuffle. Let's go listen to hip hop. And then I'm over here listening to like Bing Crosby, and then I'm over here listening to Metallica. So that would probably kind of be a cluster for a lot of people, because a lot of people like to stick within like somewhat of a similar sounding genre instead of going like whoop, 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 whoop. And that's kind of me. So I literally listen to pretty much everything, and I give everything a shot. I used to really hate classical music because it would just make me tired. But now there are certain instances, because I do a lot of things for my videos, where I'm having to listen to certain kinds of patterns that are more like calming and mellow. And it's kind of brought me back to listening to some classical music as well, just because it kind of fits the aesthetic of what it is that I'm trying to look for. And sometimes it can be extremely motivational to listen to that. Or like Brock introduced me to Viking music, which is fascinating. And I have really enjoyed some of the sounds that come from that and that resonate from that, especially with a good set of headphones. I think that music is one of those things that can really speak to you in a variety of different ways. And so it's kind of fascinating to be able to hear it. And especially whenever I'm able to hear it like it's surrounding me, I really get into some really cool music that has a lot of layers to it. Music is a way that I can hear certain like intricacies and things like that, that really kind of like make you realize and respect how much that goes into it. So like, for example, one of my favorite things to do is put on a good set of headphones, lay back and just listen and hear all of the little dings and the little sizzles and the little things that come off of the drums, like whenever they're not just hitting the drum, but whenever they come off of the drum and almost hit the side of the drum, and you can hear all of that. And so I go into like this like world of listening, and it becomes like a focus of mine, which is kind of interesting because in a lot of things I lack focus because I'm just like all over the place. So finding things to put me in focus so that I can move on to the next things like the music is very much so a benefit to me, I think. So my music on Spotify would probably be a super big question mark for a lot of people. Let's see. When am I coming to the Mississippi coast? I do not know. I'm really trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing after the van is fixed. Right now I'm at a hard stop. So what I mean by that is right now I'm just floating along until I can get the van fixed, until they contact me, in which case I will then deadhead back to Texas and be sitting until it's fixed. So in the time being, I'm just like, ooh, I could do this, ooh, I could do this, ooh, I could do this. And I can't really isolate what I'm going to do until I know how long I'm going to be there. And that is a lot of uncertain feelings for me right now. It kind of gives me some anxiety because I'm so used to just kind of going with the flow. But whenever you have something else involved where you can't just go with the flow, it makes it a little harder. Now, I do have 2 obligations that I do need to be at in Colorado this year. One is in June and the other one will be in either September or August. I need to look at my schedule. And there's a couple of other things that I will be obligating myself to based on when the van will be in the shop. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure when I'm going to go there. It really depends on how late of the time that it is, what the heat feels like, stuff like that. Okay, so I would also like to do a river cruise. I'm looking for a really cool one that goes down the Mississippi River. I think that that would be just so fun. I watched a couple that was actually doing one in, I believe it was in India. They did like this big river cruise and it was just the coolest thing. And I was like, that would be an interesting thing. It's not an open ocean thing, so you have more control over the variables to some extent. And at the same time, beautiful views on both sides, and you can see so many cool things. So after that, I thought, ooh, the Mississippi River, that's one that would be really fun for us here. Let's see, what's my favorite road trip song? I don't really have a favorite road trip song per se. Let's see. Hang on, I'm trying to catch up with you guys. Bring a blow-up boat just in case. Let's see. I'm a very unique person, so I'm sure your music taste resonates. I really am. So a lot of people get really into certain things. And so, like, I've always listened to different kinds of music based on the people that I'm around, kind of because they're into that one thing. The cool thing is I have such a range of people that I am around that my music taste has kind of gotten pulled in a lot of different directions. And rather than saying, ooh, I like this one better than this one, I say, why can't we just listen to all of it at the same time? Now, that's not for everyone. So whenever I'm jamming in my van, it may not be the same thing that other people want to hear. And that's okay. Whenever I'm riding with them, we can listen to what they like to listen to. But if you ever give me the radio commando seat, you're in for a ride. Let's see. Blue Sky by Bing Crosby. Yes, yes, yes. Let's see. American Cruise Line, #1 river cruise line to see the Mississippi River. Nice. I will have to make myself a note of that one, actually, after I get off of here, because that is something to start with. because again, I just thought it was a cool idea, but I didn't know if it would be something that would be attainable or not. How are my mom and dad? They are good. They are super good. I just talked to my dad this morning. Talked to him yesterday also. They're doing great. Let's see. Me and my kids did a day cruise, 4th of July. Oops. General Jackson on the Cumberland. Ooh, that sounds fun with a dinner show. That could be super fun. I want to, the next time I go to Branson, I want to do the Branson Belle. I've been putting it off for a while. Just because like I wanted to make sure that it was like the thing that I was gonna do. But during COVID, of course, things changed. And then after that, I was like, let them get back on their feet completely. Well, now they're up and going completely, and I want to do that. I just want to do it during a nice time of year. And the last couple times I've been up there, it's been pretty cold and miserable. So not the best time to be on the water. What is my number one necessity on a road trip? On a road trip or on just living in general? I would definitely say on a road trip, because it's shorter snacks. Snacks on a road trip are good. On the overall road in general, I would probably say power. Power is so important with my overall travels. While I'm sitting here, I'm going to put some lotion on my Arizona elbows real quick. One of the things that I've been learning out here in Arizona is that my elbows hate it. My elbows hate it so much. So I'm using this olive oil lotion that I picked up in Branson that I really like. It seems to do very well on my elbows. I kind of alternate between this and a Nivea, and it seems to be somewhat more helpful than just using one kind of lotion. The olive oil sits on the skin differently, and so it really hydrates and then soaks in slowly. The Nivea, I have the extra hydration one, so it's just good for overall my skin. So if I kind of rotate between the two, I seem to get better results. Is Branson Nomad friendly? Okay, so Branson is very Nomad friendly, but again, there's a but. If you're looking for free campsites, they literally have hundreds of campsites that are paid campsites. Just literally, they're there so that people can come and vacation. As for free campsites, there are only a few spots, and they're more outside of town than in town. So if you're looking for a free campsite, it's going to be a bit more of a stretch. However, my favorite thing to do whenever I go there is to actually just pay the cost, go to the state park. Table Rock State Park is amazing. They have great showers. They have wonderful bathrooms. They have laundry there. The sites are shaded and long, and a lot of times you can get power for just a little tiny bit more if you need power, but they do have nice open areas where you can also charge your solar if you don't want power. And so I like Branson for that. Again, they have several Walmarts. Don't park at the Walmarts there. They're having a really big influx of people who are trying to, so I've noticed that they're really not as gung-ho about you parking at the Walmart there, but there are a few free campsites that you can find on freecampsites.net just outside of town that are definitely really nice. You just kind of have to drive a little bit further. Let's see. Do I have a favorite patch or sticker? Let's see. Oh, that's kind of hard too. Okay, I actually do though, and this one's kind of funny. So this is right here. It's if you have seen this patch before, you already know what it is, but if you have not, this was actually one of my patches that I had when I was a kid, and I believe it was one of my Girl Scout or Campfire. I don't remember if it was Campfire or Girl Scout, but it was a patch that I earned back in the day. Now, whenever I was going through things at base camp, kind of cleaning some stuff out, I found this, and I had just gotten to where I was going to start the patches. So I was like, why not start out with one of my original adventure patches? So this thing is probably, almost as old as me right here, almost. So yeah, this is probably one of my favorites. And then it's just kind of interesting because it does have a ladybug, and of course I'm friends with Ladybug Out, so it kind of is a cute little thing also. But that would be my favorite simply because it's my longest patch that I've had, and so it's kind of interesting. As for designs, oh my goodness, there's some cool ones up here. So Tom Devlin's Monster Museum, super cool, super detailed. This one's so fun. Of course, the Monster Museum of Tom Devlin, he is a makeup artist who does a lot of Hollywood makeup, and he creates a lot of the monsters that we know today and stuff like that. So this is super cool, just because the detail. But let's see, I have this guy, the dabbing Spanky. Of course, I do have a little mini schnauzer, so I bought this because it kind of looks like him. So this is super fun. I got this when I was in Bisbee last year. Let's see. Other than that, there are some super good patches up here, guys. Some of the places just really put a lot of time and effort into their patches. This one's a favorite. Never too old. I live by this motto. You're never too old to have an adventure. You're never too old to get out there and try something new. You're never too old to just live your life. And, you know, leave it to Disney to tell us that. But yeah, those are just some of them. At some point, maybe I'll do like a patch tour for you guys. It'll just be a very specific video because not everybody's going to want to see that. But at the same time, I can kind of tell you why I picked some of the patches, like the Disney one. There are so many patches across Disney, but I liked that one because as many of you know, I hadn't ever been to Disney until my 40th birthday. And a lot of people, when I would tell that to them, they'd be like, what? How have you never been to Disney? It just wasn't ever in my cards. You know, Disney's not the most inexpensive place, especially whenever you're in the middle of the country and the Disneys are on the opposite sides. That's a big expenditure. And so I never got to go there when I was a kid. And so I wanted to go there as an adult, and it just never happened. And over again, it just would never happen. So by the time that I celebrated my 40th birthday and I went to Disney, I felt like I was a kid again. And it was so amazing. And I really appreciate the fact that I was able to have that experience. And again, I want to say thank you to Sandra. Sandra, thank you if you're watching this, because she literally made me live my best life of Disney so much. And I'm so appreciative and will always be grateful for that. It was one of the best birthday gifts anyone could have ever given me. So yeah, that patch is symbolic of that. Let's see. Let's see. I need a Bunny Plays Here patch, so I have one. This is one that I have on my van, but I also have it on one of my tactical bags so that I can have it with me in certain instances. I don't use that tactical bag as often just because the strap is a little weird on it, and I do prefer the Murphy bag based on the strap size. So at some point, I may add a little piece of Velcro so I can put it on my Murphy bag. I'm not sure. Looking for some samples whenever I go back to base camp and shipping them to base camp just to kind of see if I like them. So we'll cross our fingers on that. Let's see. Bart, see? 36. Yes. Late life, Disney. We are never too old. We like that. Let's see. I do have stickers available, however. In fact, if you're looking at the dash on your computer or on some smartphones, you can see there's a merch link down here. There's all sorts of different merch, and you can kind of scan across. It takes you to my site where I have shirts, hoodies, I have some bags, some cups, and stickers there. And if you're interested in any of that, I try to not only provide Bunny Plays Here stuff, but also stuff for adventures and van life and stuff like that, because I know not everybody wants to wrap up Bunny Plays Here. However, some people do, so I want to put that there. However, I also wanted to have some other things for people who just like travel, and I'm going to be adding some new designs to that very soon. So whenever I do, I'll put it in the community tab so you guys can go check it out. 57 and never been to Disney. Oh my goodness, you have to go at least once. I had no idea what I was in store for until I got there, and as I was getting ready for the trip to Disney, I just remember going, oh my gosh, I'm going on my birthday, it's gonna be so fun. And I remember the process of ordering my ears, because I wanted to have ears when I went into the park, finding something that suited my personality, and then also getting there and just seeing everything for the first time. Going through the Main Street area after having been to the area that inspired the Main Street, it was just so cool, and I really enjoyed it. Not to mention, I am a person who I typically, like when I go to Silver Dollar City, I don't ride all the rides because I've ridden them before, but at Disney I'd never ridden them before, so I was like, I must go, I must ride. And so I got the Genie Pass, which is what they had then. Now they have something different, but it was basically a fast pass, and I could literally go on my phone, schedule the ride that I wanted to go to it, and then ride it. And then just, I was so excited. Haunted Mansion, coolest thing ever. I've been watching videos about how they did Haunted Mansion forever. And so by seeing the actual effects, I was totally geeking out. I also rode Roger Rabbit twice just because it's a bunny. Hi. So that was super cool. Like within just a couple of moments of getting there, Cruella talked to me. And yes, I realize it's just a cast member dressed up as Cruella. However, it still brings you in and immediately immerses you in it. Going to the tiki room and then having a Dole Whip. These are all things that I kind of envisioned that I would enjoy. But I'm glad that I went as an adult because I truly did appreciate them and enjoy them. I think a lot of times when you go to a place as a kid, you make memories and you could continue going back to that place and continue the memories. However, going to a place for the first time as an adult that is like a place that you've been looking at your entire life, it just kind of is a different kind of respect for it. So it was super cool. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Mimi. Thank you. You do not have to do that. No one should ever feel obligated to send anything to me, but thank you so much. I will put that toward lunch today, so thanks. 30 but never been to Disney. Oh my gosh, you have to go at least once. It's so cool. I cannot explain enough how much I didn't think that I would be like, oh my gosh, Disney. And then when I got there, I was like, oh my gosh, Disney. Of course, I went with Riley and we were just like walking around as fast as we possibly could to do as many things. I even rode the Indiana Jones ride. For those of you who do not know, I am petrified of snakes. I didn't think about the fact that Indiana Jones, snakes. Get in there and the first thing I see is a big stone snake and I'm like, oh no. At the same time, I had such a good time, freaking out the entire time, but still having a good time. Let's see. I love crocheting and want to know what colors that I would like to see in it. I like bright colors, so anything bright is always super fun. I do a lot of blues and things like that personally, so, you know, surprise me. I love that. Thank you. Let's see. I don't look 40, I look 28, maybe 30 max. Thank you. I appreciate that. I always appreciate whenever people are kind like that. Very much so 40 though. My aches and pains, my grinds and groans, they are there. Let's see. Do I have a favorite Disney character? Okay, so I am a person who appreciates a lot of the characters that Disney has to offer. One of my favorites was Donald. I still remember whenever they did Donald's birthday special whenever I was young, and I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing because I have these moments of Disney madness in my brain that are just embedded there. For example, I remember watching the Mickey Mouse Club whenever Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears were on it. That was my Mickey Mouse Club. But I've also watched the old Mickey Mouse Club because my parents have that sense of nostalgia that they wanted to share with me. And I thought that that was super cool. But when it comes to the characters themselves, I remember when they used to do this thing called DTV. And so they would do all these specials that were DTV specials. And one was the Valentine's special that they did. And it shows a lot of the old cartoons integrated with the new cartoons with a lot of cool like music. And I just remember there was a Stevie Wonder song and he was singing, I just called to say I love you. And you could see all of these cute characters doing different things throughout time. And it's like they brought out the old ones and it shows him like giving a flower to Daisy and stuff like that. Also, the Donald's birthday special, for some reason that still eats my brain. Happy birthday, it's Donald's birthday, quack, quack, quack. Yes, all of those things. Those were all things that just like stuck for some reason. I have no idea why. But yeah. Let's see. Absolutely. See, that's the thing. When you go as a younger child, sorry guys, a lot of times your memories are so much more limited. Like I remember going to Six Flags when I was a kid because it was like right in our backyard, and I have a pretty good memory, which is weird because I remember strange things from when I was a kid that most people are like, how do you know that? But I remember going there and I would participate with the shows and get on stage and they'd put on cute little outfits or have you hold these little candy things and stuff. And I remember that because I was interacting with my environment. However, there are some times when I would just be present and I don't remember those things as much. So I think being present in an experience is sometimes not enough. You have to be interactive with that experience. And so a lot of people, when they go to a place as a young child, they're just there and they're doing stuff. They're not actually interacting with the experience in a personal way, so their memories are much smaller. So I see people who are adults now who go and they have the best time just because they can appreciate it for what it is. The theming is so epic at Disney. Like, if you can dream it, they can make it. And it's weird because like you can dream some weird, crazy things, and then when you visually see it, it literally feels like you're in the cartoon movie, and it is wild. Let's see. Absolutely, there is something very magical about Disney. Now, some weird facts about me, because why not? We're sitting here talking about Disney anyway. So I like to watch a lot of creators who talk about Disney, but not just like from the, oh, we're going to the park every day perspective. I think that that's kind of overdone, like realistically. And that's just my opinion, not taking away from them and their experience. However, in my opinion, those aren't the channels that I watch. I enjoy seeing the ones about how they did something, or the history, or how they opened the park, or what their original intentions were versus what it turned out to be now, or what the hidden things around Disney are, why they found that this green color was like the color that nobody seems to realize exists because it just fades into the distance. So I watch a lot of stuff like that, but I remember watching one specific thing about when Disney first opened, and on the day that it opened, Ronald Reagan was there. Now, Ronald Reagan is a weird little thing in my brain because whenever I was younger, my grandpa, he was a veteran. And so Ronald Reagan did a lot of things where he would send things out to the veterans and do really cool stuff for the veterans at the time. And so I just remember seeing my grandpa had all this stuff from the president. Again, I'm young. I don't understand how political mailers work at that time. But in my mind, this is super cool and really relatable. So I related to this president because he was the president whenever I was born. And he was the president who was always sending my granddad stuff, and I just thought that that was so cool. And so whenever I was watching the Disney special and I saw Reagan was actually there on opening day being a part of it because he was also an actor, I just totally geeked out at that. And it just brought me so much joy because it brought me back to another memory that I had, a positive memory of my grandfather. And so, you know, there's a lot of ways that our lives intertwine and show us different things. And I think that taking the time to appreciate those things is a really big part of what it is that I do with my travels. And I'm hoping other people do as well. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up. Sorry, guys. Oh my goodness. Awesome, Bart. I just got a thing. It popped up. So I will go check that out in just a second. Thank you. I'm so excited about this. I understand not being a crowd person. I definitely understand that. That is the one thing. I call it the stroller mafia. There's like 50 strollers at any given time walking around Disney just like this. It's chaos. So you have to like go in with like the app in your hand and the map so you know where you want to go and just go. You have to just like beeline, blinders, and then just kind of be okay with ducking and weaving, especially in some of the tighter corridors. I definitely understand that. Let's see. Oh my gosh, no, it all did the weird thing. It did the weird thing, guys. Let's see. Aussie Van Man, are you sleeping or eating ice cream? He's stuck at work. That's why I am adventuring on my own today. So we've got kind of good routine going on here. Like whenever I pulled into Phoenix, I know for a fact that Brock has like life. He has to do that. But at the same time, he has a good eye for expertise of knowing what's what. And also he is my snake ranger. We're just going to call him that, the snake ranger, because he can walk ahead of me and make sure no snakes get me on crazy trails. So I knew that that wasn't going to be accessible to me during a certain time of day because he's at work. So I try to plan my adventures that I'm doing independently that do not require a snake ranger during the morning so that in the afternoon after he gets off work, if I need a snake ranger, he is present. Let's see. What month is my birthday? It was actually just this month. It was March 11th. What is my favorite Disney movie? Ooh, Richest Cat in the World. Good luck on finding that one. Hello, Tina. Let's see. Shalom, shalom from Israel. Oh, hi. Hello, hello. Wow. He's also a mountain goat. He is a mountain goat. So one of the things that I've learned about Aussie Van Man is he goes out and he tries to find people. And that's something that is a very specific set of skills. I have learned by watching just what he does in his searches. I might not possess that set of skills. Not to mention I am mortified of finding someone on a trail. I just am. It really freaks me out that there are so many people in this country at any given time who are missing, and that's part of the reason why we started covering some of those on Nomad News. Speaking of which, we will be doing some updates on Nomad News very soon. Brock's computer has been kaput, so he hasn't been able to do his missing person videos that he would like to do. As soon as he's able to do that, he will be coming back. He is just much more well versed in, you know, the language that goes behind it, the overall, like, where to look for things and stuff like that to share with you guys. But it is a very specific skill set, let me tell you. He is out there just going, and he was telling me some of the stories of some of the hikes that he's gone on to try to find specific people and just how brutal the conditions are. And after going out just to that one trail that we went on to and seeing him go off trail and how, like, everything just closes in kind of on you, I was like, no, I don't see this being my journey. I would love to help, and I will help through awareness, because that is what I'm good at. I can talk all day long, I can present a video, I cannot get out there and do that. My fear of snakes petrifies me from being able to move and pursue. And then also, like, it's a completely unrealistic fear. Like, out of all realisticness, I've seen snakes, yes. However, are they going to come and actively pursue me? Probably not. So, you know, it is what it is. But I have a newfound respect for what he does based on just seeing his mountain goatness moving around and how fast that he can do it too. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mama Jenny. Yes, oh Van Gal. I just kind of hop on when I have some Wi-Fi, and right now that's the Planet Fitness right there. We're sponging off the Planet Fitness because we went and took a shower earlier. Speaking of which, let me kind of go back into the conversation a little bit for everybody who's kind of new. Let me kind of touch on a couple things. I have videos coming out about my kitchen stuff because people have been asking about it. That will be coming out very soon. My budget video is finished. It will be either this weekend or first of next week that you'll be seeing it. And then also I have a couple of other videos that are coming out that are going to be like kind of van related videos that kind of talk about some of the things that we need to be talking about a little bit more. As I've been going, I've had lots of people who kind of make snarky comments about van people and stuff, and I internalize them, but the more that I hear about certain things, the more I'm like, hey, so maybe their concept of who van people is from a reality that is not based in what we actually do. So let's talk about it. So that's what I'm going to start doing, is kind of addressing those as we go. At the same time, I don't want my channel to be a van channel completely. It's a van channel in part because I do travel in a van, but the bigger thing that I do on my channel here is that I talk about the experiences that you can have, and I hope that those encourage people to get out and live more fully. But also I want to provide resources for some of the underrepresented areas that people don't go to, or some of the things that people don't know are necessarily there. In doing the 2 little short hikes that I did for Lake Pleasant, I had more people who were saying they would be encouraged to get out on a trail like that because they think that they can do it, and that's why I do what I do. I know that not everyone is going to be able to do a 15-mile trail or an overnight camping trail. They're just not. But the average person can take a nice gingerly walk along a short trail. And so I want to share a lot of those because I think that more people need to get out and be active. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in the biggest, massive way, because it's not realistic to think that all of us are going to be like through hikers. We're just not. Absolutely, it's more of a vehicle and road trip channel. That's kind of where I started out, because even whenever I first started out tent camping and stuff, I would tackle the fact that I'm in a car, but I wouldn't really talk a whole lot about it. The main reason I cover a lot of things with the van now is because I do get so many questions, and I want to empower women to get out there and do things. And I know sometimes that our biggest hesitation to do things is that we just don't have knowledge in that particular thing because we haven't done it before. So the more I talk about it, the more I hope that it encourages people. Daily vlogging in a van isn't really anything that I hope to do in the future for a long term. I do understand that those videos do have value also. However, everyday life in a van isn't everyday life in a van for me. It's, hey, I wake up and then I go do all these things. And I don't want to put those things all into one video, because the problem with doing that is, unfortunately, if someone views that then and says, oh, this is a van day, then they don't watch the value that comes from those independent places. And I want those independent places to stand alone so people can see the value that they have. A lot of people do love vlog style videos, and that's cool. I like vlog style videos too. However, my goal is not to be a vlog channel. It is to be a person who is out there experiencing life, but sharing it so that you can envision yourself doing it. And if you just see that my day starts out in a van and you have no intention of being in a van, you instantly aren't going to watch that video. And so you're going to miss out on the value of the individual place also. And I don't want to do that. Whenever I first started out, I did more of that. And I started to realize that it's kind of an injustice to those who are looking for something specific. Right now, if somebody is wanting to go and they are wanting to see Hole in the Rock, then they can go and look up Hole in the Rock and find my video and see what it's about and see what kind of trail it is and the experience that it is, versus if they were to look up Hole in the Rock and then they see me standing in front of my van going, yay, we're going on a hike today, and then me starting off with being like, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm washing my hair, I am getting dressed. None of those things are going to apply to the person who just wants to see Hole in the Rock. And so my goal is to share the place and then also share the journey. And so that's why I break up the videos the way I do. Let's see. When I grew up in Spring, Texas, we always went to the Crawdad Festival. That's cool. I've been to a few Crawdad festivals. I love the seasonal festival video. I actually have another one coming out. It's just a beast of a video. We went to the Arizona Ren Fair. Oh my goodness, it was so cool. So that's going to be kind of fun. And also I'm looking for a few additional places that I can go to pick up on some cool events that are going on kind of more in a timely fashion. In fact, I do have a project that I'm going to be starting on. And I know, guys, it's a long ways away, but I'm going to do a project next year. And I know that it's only March of this year and I'm already talking about next year. But with large projects, I do like to plan things out ahead so that I can really focus that attention on doing those things correctly so I don't miss out or like shaft them. But this project is something that will be super fun and I'm hoping to tackle a lot of festivals with it. It's so cool. But it's gonna be a interesting endeavor to start on. The van is just a tool for the adventure. Yes, absolutely. Just like the tent was just a tool, the van is just a tool. The only difference between the tent and the van is that people feel a bit more safe with me being in here than they did in a tent. And I get it. I've watched a lot of true crime. I understand. But at the same time, it was never about the van. It was always about the adventure. And I want people to realize that if everything that you're looking forward to is just the van, then the adventure side of it is going to be lacking. There has to be a good balance. Do I ever go to Sedona? Okay, so I went to Sedona at the beginning of this trip and I was there and I was going to meet Riley. However, they've closed a lot of camping in the Sedona area because people are just really trashing the place. So they have these huge boulders everywhere. So I was looking around and trying to figure out where we were going to stay. And Riley and I ended up meeting just outside of Flagstaff. That's where all of this crazy adventure began, Flagstaff. So I wanted to come back to Sedona because I want to go see the vortex. I want to go see all of the beautiful red mountains and stuff like that. They have gotten blasted by snow. They're currently flooding and it's not the right time. I believe in doing things in a timely fashion, but at the same time making sure I'm safe. So I really didn't think it was a great idea for me to go there yet. I'm hoping before I depart from Arizona, some of that will kind of subside. But let me tell you what I'm personally experiencing right here in Arizona. It snowed a whole bunch in northern Arizona, and then they started getting blasted by rain also from the wonderful atmospheric river that's coming across. So what's happening is as the snow is here and it's starting to naturally and organically melt, and then it's being met by this rain, it's causing everything to just saturate. And so the higher ground is starting to float down to the lower ground, trying to find those outlets to get to the lakes, the bigger rivers, things like that. But what's happening is in the time being, it's basically flooding so many places. I was saying at the beginning of the video, some of the roads here are even flooded in Phoenix just because of all the excessive push down. They've opened up the floodgates in many places. In fact, there was a video, which I'm hoping to share on an upcoming video, which you'll see. Somebody had parked in what they thought was a safe area, only to find out that they opened the floodgates while they were away, and their RV was completely surrounded by water where they can't even get to it. It's like up close to the roof. So, just trying to be super mindful of where I am, and especially in areas that I may or may not have the greatest of service. I don't want to put myself in a bad spot. So no, I haven't been to Sedona yet. Let's see. Thank you for showing us how lovely the United States is. Absolutely. That was one of the best things that I could have done for myself as well. Whenever I traveled before I started this journey, I would notice that things were really cool, or, oh, this is neat. But mostly I would travel in urban spaces because of work and things like that. When I started venturing out into the bigger spaces in the outdoors, I started realizing how small we really are. And I think that that's such a cool feeling to be standing in this beautiful place, which has been here for thousands of years, and it's just existing and being and changing and constantly evolving. And you're sitting here as this person who thinks that all your problems are so big, and you think your world is so massive, and you think that everything in there is just so heavy. Then you get out to a place like this that's been existing, and you're just like, wow. Okay, so maybe I'm not the only thing that matters. And once you start thinking in that particular way, you start to realize that the world is this amazing place, and you start to see the beauty differently. And so I think that that's one of the things that I hope to capture and continue to work toward capturing, is these things where these moments of just deep breath, where you can just go and drop some of your weight because you see something that's so impressive. Let's see. You're preparing to get one? Cool. The adventure is what I want the van for. Absolutely. That's the way to look at it. Like, I think that it's very important for us, as we're planning on what we're wanting out of our adventures and our lives, basically, to have a serious conversation with yourself. What do I hope to achieve from moving into a vehicle? Is it that I'm just trying to save money? Is it that I can't afford where I am? Is it that I want to have adventures? Is it that I want to go and park in a place for 2 weeks? What is it that we're wanting to do? And once we start addressing those things and realizing where our lifestyle wants us to go, then we can start talking about like the budget, and then we can start talking about like where are we going to go first and where are we going to camp. But kind of having the idea in the first place is the main thing that gets you started for your success. If you just go out and you're just like, yeah, I'm going to move in a van, and that's it, there's nothing that goes along with that, then your direction is going to be harder for you to find along the way, because you don't have expectation for your goals. Just have some little goals. It doesn't have to be like you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this. You don't have to line out everything, but just have some broad like ideas so that you can figure out the little stuff that goes in between. For example, within my adventures, originally I was tent camping, so I knew that I needed some very basic things. I needed my tent, I needed a way to cook food, I needed a way to keep warm, and I needed a way to keep off the ground. There you go. But what did I want to do? I wanted to go and see all of these beautiful places. So can I take a tent to these places? Some of them, not all of them. So after I figured out that tent camping is a bit harder in certain places because of bears, because of weather, or because of regulations, I started realizing that I was somewhat limited on what I could do by my method of choice. So I would have to change some things or just not go to those places. But these are all things that I could have kind of thought about beforehand. I just didn't know where to start. So looking at the bigger picture in advance can seem super like daunting and overwhelming. But when you start like kind of pushing it down into what do I expect to get from this, it starts to make more sense. Let's see. Do you have a favorite place to visit? Not really. Everything is amazing. I find beauty so many places, and every time I go someplace, I'm just like blown away. I will say that I do gravitate toward like the Pacific Northwest. I love it up there. There's such a variety of different vegetation, so many beautiful waterfalls, so many amazing places. I do like that area probably a little bit more than most, but I also love Colorado. I go there pretty frequently. Let's see. Funny, many people that live in sticks and bricks think people that live in their cars are just homeless people. That's actually one of the things I'm going to be addressing on one of my videos coming up. Because I think that it's important for people to realize that it, again, is a vessel for the adventure. Not everyone has the same set of circumstances. Now, I did have a conversation the other day. In fact, it was with Fit for Expedition, Greg, and then also Brock, and we were talking about the movie Nomadland and the perception that people have as a result of the movie Nomadland. I think that there is a very, very specific group that is portrayed in that movie, and it's a very good movie. It really is. However, I think that also that's not the vast majority of the people, at least that I know. There are people out there from all walks of life who have found their way into a vehicle, some by choice, some not. I think that it's important for us to realize that just like every other part of society, there are subgroups within the larger group that we all got here in different ways, and we all have different goals and expectations and like things that we want to accomplish and things that we need. So it's important for us to look at it as not just, hey, it's a bunch of bums living in their vans, sponged off the government, because that's what I hear a lot. In fact, a lot of people, whenever they're like, you make money doing this, they're baffled. And some of them are disgusted by it. And so, you know, to each their own. Everyone has their own independent story. I do find it super fun to engage with those people, though, who look at me in disgust because I'm in a van. And whenever I start talking to them about the things I've done in my past, they're just like, what? How did you get here? And so it starts a conversation. For example, a lot of people would not look at me as an individual and think whenever I'm out and about that I am destitute, because I'm not. And so it's interesting to see how someone can literally be walking with you after a trailhead talking to you, and then as soon as they realize that you get into a van, there's either curiosity because they're like, first and foremost, my van is tiny, how do I live in that? Or, oh, you're one of those. And it's funny to me because I can have great conversations with people and then they will still judge you based on what they perceive as soon as they see your circumstance of what you're doing. But at the same time, for those who are willing to have a conversation, we can have a great conversation and then end up with some things to kind of go with from there to kind of show them that, hey, we are all different. Again, going back to the nomad land part of this, the nomad land is, again, a very specific sector of the overall nomad community. Nomad is a broad general word, though, that just means that you're traveling. And so you can be a person in an A class, you can be a person who's tent camping, you can be a person in a truck camper, in a van, you could be a person in an RV that's like from 1965 or from 1992 or from 2023. Those are all nomads, and there's no one set way that you are a nomad. And so when people look at nomad land, for example, they tend to go, because they see one side of it. They don't see people who are in their vehicle by choice because they want to be adventuring. They don't see the people who are out there who are rock climbers, who literally travel in their vans from place to place. They don't see the people who are the fire and rescue people who live in their vans and go from place to place fighting forest fires. They don't see the literal rocket scientists who live in their vans who work for NASA. I have met one. It was really cool. That's the thing. And so I want to go ahead and whenever I do that video, I'll talk about that as well as some of the other things that people think about nomads, which are kind of funny. And we'll have this discussion on there a little bit more in detail. And, you know, I hope that that falls into the right hands of people who aren't necessarily just nomads. I hope it falls into some conversations with people who aren't thinking about being nomads, but perceive us in a certain kind of way. Let's see. Let me catch up a little bit. There is a big difference between houseless and homeless. Absolutely. I think that that's the main thing that people, it's hard for people, especially people who are very traditionally in a sticks and bricks, to fathom anything outside of that. And what's even more fascinating is the people who are in sticks and bricks and who recreationally travel for like a week at a time on vacation. Some of their thoughts on nomads who are like full-time, some of it's FOMO because they're like, oh my gosh, I would like to do that all the time because I have a good time when I'm on vacation. Others are just like, ugh. So it's funny to see the dynamic of all those. Riley's in the house. Riley, I was just telling them about why you are not with us, but I'm leaving the mystery of where you are to your channel. Let's see. What's my biggest pet peeve about other drivers? Oh, okay, so I have a few. Number one, if you're on a one-lane road and you are going super slow, there's pull-offs for a reason. I also observe pulling off. If I want to be a spectator in this world looking around and I know I'm going slower, I will pull off so people can go around me, because that way I don't feel pushed. At the same time, there are a lot of people who won't do that and they would prefer just to slow down the entire group. And guess what? By the time that you get 6 cars deep and this guy in the back has been sitting there for 10 minutes, he is no longer nice. So what happens is you end up with road rage as a result of just not pulling off. So that's a big one. I also do not like when people sit right behind you. Like, especially after my accident, sitting right behind you, not cool at all. There's a difference between an unavoidable situation like the one that I had and people who just literally are there. I hate that. I think that the other thing that I would say is people who are just not respectful to one another's. We've all seen it. We've all seen some really nasty things on the roads. I don't like those. Let's see. Why isn't Riley here? She is on an adventure. Home is where you park it. Absolutely, I agree. You're prepping your dinner, Teresa? Nice. I need to go grab some food in just a few minutes. Let's see. You're going to start van life, Chelsea. That's super cool. My suggestion to you is just know what you want to do, know what you want to achieve, and then also accommodate your vehicle accordingly. If you're wanting to do a lot of outdoor adventure sports, you're going to need some room for those things. Just think about that in advance so that you don't feel like it's an afterthought. If you're wanting to do a lot of hiking, make sure that you have an area for your hiking boots that might not be in your main passage area, because hiking boots can get gross and smelly. Maybe park them somewhere that you can spray them and then hide them away. You know, silly things like that are things that we learn on the road as we go. And don't feel like you have to have all the answers right outright, because life is going to laugh whenever you think that you know everything. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up. Let's see. Several people saying hi to Tyson and Riley. Drivers that cut you off when no one is behind you. Yes, those are also very obnoxious. I drive slow, but I pull off. See, that's just it. You can drive slow and it not be a problem. And that's why they have pull-offs. Now, I do have one time that I was so angry, like super angry. I was in Smoky Mountain National Park, and they were having one of those Jeep tours. There's nothing wrong with Jeep tours. I have nothing against them. However, I do have an issue with 25 Jeeps coming up behind you and pushing you when there are no pull-offs. It would be different if there are pull-offs and you could pull off, but at some point, if you see that someone is not able to, maybe just don't be a jerk. Maybe, just maybe. Let's see. Finally caught alive. Yes, you did, Zach. Let's see. During a recent hospital stay, I was cared for by a traveling RN. Yes! So I have a follower on the channel. I don't think she's in here right now, but her name is Miranda. If you see her in the comments, she's actually a travel nurse. When she first started out, she sent me an email saying she would be interested in a van like mine, and she asked if I had anything that I would have to say about it that could help her. She told me that she's a travel nurse. She's traveled all over the country, and especially during the COVID time, she wanted to stay in a van versus a hotel because of the decontamination process. She just thought it would be easier if she could stay on site. And so she ended up purchasing a van, and now she's traveling as a travel nurse in her van. It's a little MV200 like this. Let's see. Trying to catch up. Positive vibes for everybody in the chat from Lisa. Yes, always. How's my van doing? Well, it's still the same. We're waiting on the insurance still. It's a very slow moving process, and it's super stressful. Bunny, you were also angry at the traffic in Oregon. Okay, the traffic in Oregon was a different scenario altogether. The traffic in Oregon was frustrating. A lot of the times there's one lane roads and you could only go at a certain, I mean, I'm not going to go 75 around a curve that says 30. I'm just not. And so if somebody behind me can't understand that I'm not going to do that, that's on them. That is not on me. I am going to drive responsibly and safe, and I am going to drive the speed limit because I do not want a ticket in another state. I don't. I've had a couple on my journeys because of just random things, and I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not. I don't want to pay big hefty fines just because someone wants to push me along. They can just keep it going, and then when I can pull off, I will. Or if they can pass, then they can. That's fine, but I'm not the one. No. Also, Riley drives super fast, so sometimes she would leave me. I'm just saying. Don't be a jerk, motto for life. Absolutely. I mean, more people should just not be a jerk. And if we could all just not be a jerk, we might not hate each other so much. I'm just saying, like, there's so much animosity and nastiness that all has to do with people's egos and emotions. And at the same time, if we could all be kind, and just if we don't like something, just keep it moving, versus sitting there and just being like, I don't like this, I'm gonna make your day horrible. Like, why? You're wasting your own energy to make somebody else upset. That's it. You are wasting energy and time you cannot get back because you're angry. Why? Instead, you could turn your attention towards something that you aren't angry about and then lose less time. I've always been told time is the one resource that is the most important and most valuable, because it's the one thing you cannot get back. So anything you put your time and energy into is something that you are investing into, whether it's good or bad. So if you are wanting to have a bad day, just keep those bad vibes rolling all day long, and guess what? You've just wasted all of that time that you can no longer get back. On your deathbed, are you going to look at the days that you were like, I was so angry this day? No, you're going to look at the joy that you had with the people that you were around and the positive things. So let's make more of those so that we can have a happy, positive experience in this life, as opposed to an angry existence. And then maybe eventually the ripple will catch on and other people will start doing it too. Riley, yes you do. You drive really fast. Super fast. Shall I get other people in here to tell you how fast you drive? Let's see. My younger friends laugh at me when I say I want to become a female widow van camper at 70. There is nothing wrong with that. Living your life to the fullest is the most important thing. The only thing I always tell people is if you're trying to get out and you do have any kind of limitations, make sure you've covered your bases, make sure that you have a pattern for which people know where you're at so you're safe, and then also make sure that if you do have anything that you need to cover on the road, that you have a solution for that. Drive it like you stole it. Yes. Okay. So drive it like you stole it is definitely not necessarily Riley, but sometimes maybe just a little bit. Sometimes, I don't know. She gets into a zone and then she goes. And sometimes I'm pretty sure that she's speeding a little bit. Sometimes just a little bit here and there. The slowest person in the caravan should be first so that no one gets lost. Possibly. I refuse to give other people the power to make me mad. I think that that's the best thing. Like, realistically, people can frustrate you, and that's fine. And that's why a lot of times, like in my comments, whenever I say, please don't entertain the bad people, just don't do it, because all that's doing is wasting your time, and then those people are going to try to dig into you more, and then that's going to waste more of your time, and I don't want that for anyone. I would rather us have happy moments that we can move on and do cool things than sit here and worry about weird people. Let's see. I always make Bunny lead the caravan since I zone out. Yes! So that's the problem, the zoning of the outs. Also, a lot of times, like, it's really dependent on who has the best cell service in our caravan, but we like to stay close enough where we can still use our walkies, and we go off of the Apple map instead of the Google map. We learned that the hard way by ending up in what I can only say was deliverance. It was not cool. We don't want to do that again. Getting ready for work in my van at a gym parking lot. Me too! Gym parking lot right over here. A lady and I were just talking about how angry everyone seems these days, and you're exactly 100%. Don't let them bring you down. Absolutely. I think that that's the biggest thing, is like, so much of our lives we spend whenever we're doing a more traditional lifestyle, being told how to live our lives, what we're supposed to do, and how we're supposed to process all of this stuff, and how we're supposed to internalize this so we don't have conflict and stuff like that. But in all reality, I think once we break away from that social norm, what we learn is that when we control our time and our destiny as to what we're doing, we have the opportunity to say, oh, I spend my time only on things I want to now. And I don't want to spend my time on being mad at my coworker or being mad at some random person who said something nasty to me. I've had people say all sorts of interesting things while I've been on the road. And one of the things that I will say is, being a part of the Nomad community, I have had people like frown upon me, tell me how to live my life, ask me how I make money, just outright, not, oh, you make money at that, or how much do you make doing that. I've learned that people are going to criticize everything that I do in way of how I look, how I walk, how I talk, how I move my hands, how I wear sunglasses as opposed to looking directly into the camera without sunglasses. I have learned that when I do look directly into the camera, some people are still going to lose their marbles because they don't think that I looked at them specifically. It's a video, guys. It's a video. I'm looking at you guys specifically. But in doing that, I said all that to say this. Thick skin. You got to have it. Especially if you're doing YouTube, or if you are a content creator, or if you are traveling in a van. Unfortunately, thick skin is the thing that you need, because people are going to tell you about everything. And so instead of allowing all of that to consume me and then to be heavy on me and it be a me problem, I had to at some point just kind of acknowledge, hey, That's a them issue. That's not a me issue. I can sit there and be sad or want to fix things that I can't fix because they're just who I am. Or I can say, you know what, I'm unapologetically myself and I'm sorry that's not for you. It's okay. And I can take a deep breath and I can sleep super good at night. Versus me sitting there and toiling and stressing about the fact that somebody wants to say nasty things. That goes back to when people think that people are homeless or bums because they live in a van. You know, you can really let that get to you and you can be like, I'm not projecting that. Or, oh my gosh, why do they think that? But instead of doing that, I just would say to myself, you know what? If that's what they think, cool. Like, I can sit there and talk to them as a person who creates content and try to convince them, but at the end of the day, what they walk away with thinking is going to be their own idea and their own perception. So if that ends up not aligning with what it is that I actually do, oh well, it's fine. Bye. Don't let the door hit you. You know, it's one of those things. So I think that that's one of the things that we have to kind of acknowledge and just be okay with. Let's see. Hello, Feather. Yes, you did, Sheila. Spread happiness. Absolutely. Let's see. Do Americans wave or flash their emergency lights to say thank you? Okay, so yes and no. So in some instances, like if a trucker lets me go past or something like that, or a trucker wants to come over, I'll flash my lights so they know it's safe. However, in a lot of communities, it's not safe to flash your lights at people because unfortunately there have been a series of people who have targeted this as like a weakness so that they see a person as weak and then try to rob them or run them off the road. And so I always say by default as a Texan, I will sit here and go, yay, thank you. We give you the 2 or the 3 or even the full hi. But I'm not going to sit there and do the little light thing unless it's like a trucker or something. Now, whenever I install my CB, which I probably will do whenever I go back to base camp, then I'll just hop on there and be like, you can come over. And then we'll eliminate that altogether. Also, another thing, because I have such bright LED lights, I don't want to turn on and off those because it can cause a little bit of a oops in somebody's eyes. So I don't personally do that. I know in some smaller communities though, flashing lights is still good. Let's see. Let's see. Some people will always find something to complain about. Absolutely. It's just the nature of the beast. Some people just aren't very happy and it's super sad. I feel bad for them. And that's what I always take away from it is that, you know, if that's their everyday life and they can't see themselves beyond that, that's super unfortunate. People need not to judge. I absolutely agree also, but at the same time, it's the nature of the beast. Some people are just going to judge you. Some people judge you because they feel insecure about something about themselves. Some people judge you because they're just judgy people. Some people just like to hear themselves talk. It's fine. Let's see. Where is Riley? She's actually in this chat somewhere. Let's see. On the Broken Nomads Live, we were talking about stalkers from YouTube. Have I had any problem? I personally have not had an issue, thank goodness. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen because I've seen several people who have had that happen, but at the same time, I haven't had that personal journey. And we're going to knock on something. I don't have any wood in here, otherwise I would knock on it. So we're knocking on air wood right now. But it is a real reality. A lot of people, especially, and this is something that, you know, we don't normally talk about on the channel, but let's talk about it just for a few minutes. It's alive, and whoever gets to the 87-minute mark of this chat, then they deserve to hear this too. A lot of people in their minds have a false perception of reality when it comes to the people that they watch online. A lot of people will view them as something other than. And what I mean by that is we're just average people making videos, but some people will view you as an emote for something. They see you as, oh, you're a pretty face, or oh, you are like my XYZ, or oh, I identify with you because we're so alike. And in some cases, those are actually true. We have similarities or things like that. The only problem is whenever you get to a point where a person sees that, but then starts believing everything that they perceive, which may or may not be the actual reality. In those cases, it gets weird. It gets super weird. So in one particular instance that I was watching a creator who had this situation happen, she had someone come up to her at a place that she was at, and she's not a travel content creator. She's a different kind of creator. She was actually at an Ulta. She's a beauty creator. And somebody noticed her and came up to her. And whenever she had that person come up to her, she was very kind. She was super excited that they enjoyed her content and stuff like that. But then they almost acted as though they knew her, like in a weird way, like not in a normal, like, hey, we're getting to know each other way, but in like a I already know you kind of way. And she said that it was very strange, the interaction, but she didn't think anything of it, and she left. And whenever she left, she just went about her business. And then she ended up running the person again. And in the big city that she lives in, this is not something that happens. Like, she wasn't in the same area, like, at all. And this person was there. And she said that all her spidey senses just kind of went off as, oh no. And this person, again, was talking to her as though they knew each other. And at that point, she got freaked out and started to kind of pursue, well, what do I need to do with this? Because this doesn't make me feel comfortable. And so she said that the thing that she did was she looked into, you know, just things that you need to know if you keep encountering a person who isn't in your normal social bubble in an awkward way. And in doing so, she learned that this happens pretty frequently to YouTube content creators. There's a lot of people out there, and you don't even have to have a huge following. It's just that something about some person will latch onto you, and it makes them feel as though they belong, or that they're accepted, or as though they know you, or as though you're like a friend to them, or you spoke to them specifically. And because of that, it gets to be this like gray area. Now, this isn't the norm. Most people don't do this. So it's not like it's like every single person who's commenting on your video is like, ah, the boogeyman. No, most people are genuinely good people who are just nice and chilling and commenting, and you are getting to know them through your comments. However, in these circumstances, it's a very different thing. And so she said that she tried to pursue this, and there wasn't anything she could do because there wasn't any trackable way for her to find out anything, basically. And that was super unsettling to the point that she almost quit YouTube because it freaked her out. So I think that this is something that does need to be talked about a bit more, especially considering that there are some people out there who are just loose cannons throwing out like comments on the internet that are just like really bizarre. So yeah, it's not a fun thing to think about. And for the average person, we're not going to experience that. However, in life, I have had that happen in real life land. Whenever I worked in a different sector, I had someone who did awkwardly follow me, and it was not a cool feeling at all. It's probably one of the worst feelings that you can have. And in all reality, it's very scary to think that this is something that does exist out there and that there's so few things that you can do about it. So in response to that, I'm fortunate and I hope it never happens. But if it does, I do have a series of resources that I've kind of put back for myself in those cases if that were to happen, to protect me and to protect those that I care about. And no, it's not about weapons, by the way, because I know some people are going to say, oh my gosh, it's weapons. No, it's legal stuff. Legal stuff is far more secure than brandishing weapons at people. Let's see. Let's go over. I hope I get a CB. I actually have one already. I've had one since I had a tent. I just haven't installed it in the van because I couldn't figure out how I wanted to install it. The good point of going back to base camp for some accident repairs is going to be that I'm going to get to kind of go through things and change a few things so that I can accommodate for the CB, and then also a couple of other things. Let's see. See, this person, Penny, is saying, in my part of Wisconsin, we flash the lights to let others know a cop is sitting ahead. See, I have seen that as well. A lot of different places, they do that. That makes sense. Let's see. We all know, oh my gosh, Riley, stop. We are not very famous. We are small fish in a big pond. Bunny could go to Hollywood. So fun story, in my previous life, if you were to pull out my yearbook from the year 2000, you would see that my goal was to, in fact, go and become an actress and stuff. And then life just kind of changed. And, you know, now I just get to be my authentic self. And I don't have to portray a character. I just get to be me, and it's good enough. So that's all that matters. Let's see. Bunny, I love watching you. Put a smile on my face. Oh, thank you so much. That's my goal always. Like, I believe that the world out here is a big scary place sometimes, but we can have these moments of like safety and retreat in a place that people aren't judged and things like that, and it just brings joy to us all. So that's why I want people to feel comfortable coming here, no matter what age they are, no matter what walk of life they are, no matter what their circumstance or situation is. They can come here and know that it's a safe space. Tina said, I'm one of those homeless people who lost my place 3 years ago, but I also enjoy traveling. Absolutely. And I think that that's one of the things, like, there are a lot of people who come from a lot of different backgrounds and lifestyles, and they end up in a similar space. And that doesn't mean that we have to all be one thing. You can take your circumstances and turn them into what you want by creating your own path. And that's what's so great about being a nomad. Our nomad lifestyle allows us to do several things. If you do need to cut back on finances, you can sit for 2 weeks in a single spot. If you do want to go on adventures, there are lots of free places to go in addition to places that are paid. So it's a really cool kind of thing that brings a community of people into this common space, and then we can all kind of spiral out from there in different directions to do things that are personal to us. Let's see. Oh no, super chats aren't working. It could be YouTube. YouTube is weird sometimes. It's strange. They just keep changing stuff. Good luck with police report. Actually, you know what? I did learn that the police report, to have the burden of proof, you have to have several things. That's why I'm saying I've kind of lined up the things that you would need. I try to prepare myself in situations just in case I were to encounter them. I'm a knowledge junkie, so finding things that bring about brain wrinkles to me so that I can protect myself in the future is very important. So I have pursued what it is that you need, and the burden of proof is very hard sometimes. Usually you have to have multiple points of connection in order to have that police report, and you have to really stay on it and pursue it. And if you don't, they're not going to pick up that ball and roll it for you. Let's see. Oh no! Cheryl says Tina is making lemons into lemonade. Absolutely. Lemonade is the best drink, and you know, it can be served hot or cold, so we love that. The best thing about it is, like, again, we become what we want to be, and we can empower ourselves in so many different ways. And the constructs of what we're used to in our familiar lives before we get into a nomad lifestyle, a lot of times we have to unlearn some of those in order to unlock and enable ourselves. And I think that that's one of the best things that we can do for ourselves personally, is envision something that we want and then go for it and find ways to do it, even if it has to be a longer route to get there. Single steps get us there. That's why it's safe for creators having lag time. Yes, that's part of the reason why I do have lag. A lot of times I don't work in real time unless I do have people with me. And if you see me solo, you're not seeing a video in real time. You're just not. I'm not going to be posting something that is close to where I am, because I'm not trying to have somebody come up on my campsite and freak me out. Every so often, if I'm in a place I'm super familiar with, like when I go to Branson, if I post something in more real time, I know the park rangers, I know the people who are around me, I've familiarized myself with the area because I have been there so many times. And so I know, again, I drive around, I know all of my outlets for escape. I know that sounds silly, but it's something that I actually do. So it's just safer to have that little lag there, though. And if you are trying to pursue a YouTube, I would definitely encourage you to work off of a buffer of a lag just for that reason. Oh, thank you so much, Sheila. I've always been just very vocal. I don't know what to say. I've been the kid that has always talked a lot. At the same time, I like to put my thoughts and feelings into like pieces so that people can understand them, because I want people to always kind of be able to see different perspectives. And I know my perspective sometimes is a little bit different than others, but that's why I try to elaborate on it so people can kind of understand where I come from, so that if we do have a difference in opinion, for example, we can have a healthy conversation versus it being combative. Habla pequeño español. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, I'm super happy that they put a smile on your face. There's some days where just making a video puts a smile on my face too, because I get to chat with you guys and tell you something kind of cool, especially if I'm showing something that I've gone and done that I'm just like, oh my gosh, this was so fun. Part of the experience is me having the fun, but part of it is also getting to share it with you guys. And then whenever I get comments back saying somebody's either been there or that they went there after seeing the video, that's when I really geek out. I had a guy the other day on Patreon, and on Patreon I share some of the things that I do in more real time so people can kind of see where I'm at. And I posted a site that I'd been to, and this man actually had a personal connection with the site. and he didn't know that it was a place that you could tour. And so it brought joy to him, and he's going to get to go there now in May. And seeing his story, I was literally just like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, because I got so excited that not only does he have this personal connection, so the video means something to him, but also that he's going to get to go have his own personal connection to it, going there and then seeing firsthand what it is. And that is literally the whole, like, everything for me. That's everything. Let's see. Making the best. Absolutely, Tina. That's what we do. Every single day is a step toward our bigger picture. And every single day that we wake up and we say, okay, today I'm going to do this, even if it's something tiny and it brings us joy, that matters. Oh, thank you so much, Edna. Let's see. Ah, no! Barbara says she's heading from Iowa to Arizona tomorrow. Oh my goodness. So along the way, just make sure you check all your weather, obviously. And as you're going, I would definitely recommend, if you have an iPhone, using Apple Maps instead of Google Maps. Google Maps is great until it's not. And now it's kind of having some weirdness lately. So be very safe. I hope that you enjoy it. And when you get to Arizona, there's so many cool things to do here. Let's see. Just showered with 67 people. Wait a second. What, Bart? Oh, Bart's taking us to the showers. Wow. It's like a locker room. Everyone's in Bart's locker room. What is the one feature you really like to use the most in your van? The cruise control, heated seats. I don't have heated seats. I would honestly say in my previous vehicle, I had no electric devices whatsoever. The first car I had, kind of a brief like catch up on this. The first car I had a tiny Chevy car. It was great. I loved it, except I got to base camp and I parked it and lightning struck and it went through the car, and the car was never the same. It hasn't been able to drive since. So after that, I was very hesitant to want anything with power. So we went the opposite direction with no power or anything. And that's great until it's not. You forget to lock your door or something because you can't flick it. You have to roll down your windows manually, which never was a really big deal. But then whenever I came over into the van has a lot of cool power stuff. And one of the biggest things that it has is the ability for me to pair my phone to the van so I can listen to music through the speakers, but also I can have my map front and center. And I know that seems like such a little minimal thing for most people because so many cars have that now. But after not having that for the first, I would say 3.5 years of my traveling, and then to be able to see my map on a big screen where I'm not like straining my eyes to see it, that is my favorite feature, hands down. Let's see. Loved your video of the sky whales, the balloons. Oh my gosh. So they were inflating some this morning as I was waking up. So I just opened up my door and I sat there and I had my little water bottle, just watching them float out into the space. It was so cool. That's been by far one of my favorite things about staying in the Phoenix area. And also they have the paragliders that come through. Those are really cool too. Let's see. How awesome. No, Nomad should run the world. I don't know about that, if we should put Bunny as the president. But at the same time, you know, we'd probably be nicer if a bunch of people who actually respected the land ran the land. Just saying, just saying. No, I wasn't inside the car. So whenever it happened, I was parked at base camp, and the way that we had our parking was like my car was parked kind of over to the side, and all of our lines are buried lines, I think, out there now. I don't know if they all still are, but they were at the time, and one of the lines went directly under where the car area was. So I think what happened was the lightning actually hit a box and it traveled through the line, and the line went under the car. There was no noticeable like singeing or anything on the outer part, so it didn't get hit directly. However, when I got in, all of the things were just wonky and going crazy. The windshield wipers were going, the lights were turning on and off, the radio would turn off and then turn on, then turn off, then turn on. And we took it in and had the computer replaced on it, which supposedly was going to fix it. It did not. We had another piece of work done on it, and at some point it just wasn't a good investment to keep going. So we had to walk away from it. Tent camping, was it scary for me? Not really. So there were some moments, but at the same time, for the most part, I think the scariest part was just getting started, because whenever you're used to, for example, I only tent camped when I was a kid, and so I hadn't done it as an adult ever. So my first trip, I went on a 2-week road trip with my friend Pam. We tent camped throughout the whole Southwest, and in doing so, like, there were some nights where it was like, oh my gosh, it didn't help that my friend Pam was just like, yeah, somebody could be standing right outside the tent, we would never know. And I was like, ah! And so after that, it took me a little while to be like, okay, I'm doing this by myself now. I'm going to figure out how I feel safe. So I slept with a hatchet and a weather radio that makes this really almost deafening sound to it if you turn it off and turn it back on. So I always felt pretty safe, considering. I only had a few instances where I would hear like some critters or something like that, but for the most part, I was pretty much okay. At the same time, like, I was mindful of certain areas, again, that I couldn't camp in. For example, I would not camp in a tent in bear country. That just wouldn't have been smart. I would have been freaking out the whole time. But it's a big mind over matter thing, and I think that if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. Oh my goodness, hello Uncle George from Austin! Catching up on the adventures. I've had some really cool ones coming. I'm so excited. I have some really neat ones. In fact, I'll give a little spoiler. I went to the Titan II missile site. It was so cool. I also have gone to Old Tucson. I went to the Musical Museum. I've gone to, of course, the Ren Fair. There's just so much. I went to Pima. Oh my goodness. So many cool things. I can't wait for all the videos to come out. Let's see. 100% Bluetooth connectivity is a game changer. It is. It absolutely is. I still recall my first car. My first car was a Ford Mustang. And I remember I just thought that that was the coolest thing because it had an aftermarket radio that did all these cool things and stuff like that. But at the same time, the technology and how much it's changed from the first car to where I am now, just standard. Like, my car now has no CD player. And in the past, I would have been like, oh no, ah. But why do I need a CD player? All my music is accessible to me just by my Bluetooth, you know? Let's see. Florida, you can't camp in your car. So there are areas in Florida that they definitely say you cannot camp in a vehicle. And then there's other areas that allow you to camp in a vehicle, but it has to be in certain areas. And then there's a bunch of people who moochdock or boondock and just find a way around it. And I don't encourage people to do that. Follow the rules, please, because that's what keeps places available to us. But if you don't follow the rules, I don't want to hear about it because I don't want to be a part of the issue, okay? But tent camping in Florida, I know, is a really big thing. Although in some areas, I probably wouldn't want to have done that myself just because of, you know, wildlife. I'm just not super okay with gators. In fact, I camped once outside of New Orleans at this state park, and it was hot, sweaty, muggy. Mosquitoes were massive. I still had a great time, but the next morning I woke up and there were little tiny gators running around, and I was like, oh no, what have we gotten ourselves into? Let's see. I tent camped in bear country. It's so scary. So I tent camped in an area that was kind of bear country, and I didn't realize it until kind of the next day when I was like, yeah, I camped there. And they were like, what? And after that, I was like, okay, so I'm not doing that again, because clearly they were just like completely confused as to why I was that person. There were no signs, but it was a bear area and I did not know. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. But yeah, after that, I was like, we're going to do more research. Our life depends on it. Tent camping is okay with friends, but not safe alone. So yes and no. So I think that there is some value to tent camping alone also. You really come to terms with who you are as a person whenever you're put in those positions, and I think that that's a good value, but you really do have to be so much more mindful when you're by yourself, and you really do need that safety buddy to know where you're at. Let's see. Do you have any future plans or ideas for upgrading or adding more equipment to my van? Okay, so yes and no. I want to do a few things to the van whenever I take it back to base camp, because I'm going to have to empty it out so it can go to the shop. So I'm going to repaint my bed with some new paint. I've had several people suggest boat paint or pool paint, and so I'm going to do that. It'll just waterproof it a little bit better. It's already in pretty good shape, even though I've had it in here for quite some time. I make sure that I clean it. I make sure that I rotate my mattress. I make sure that I have holes drilled in it so it does aerate and it vents. But I do want to go ahead and touch that up because it's getting kind of beat up, especially on the table. So that's important to me. I'm also going to be resecuring my shelf and probably painting it also. I'm not exactly sure, but I think I'm going to. I really wanted to paint it originally so it would match with the white, but I didn't do it because I didn't have time and I didn't have the right kind of paint. So since I'm going to have some time on my hands, I'm going to do that. I do have a couple of other things though that I'm kind of toying with in my mind that might improve my overall quality of life on the road. Nothing too crazy or big, just make it a little bit more organized and better. We always like to go back in and make a few changes. And then I am going to put that CB in the van also, just because it'll make it easier for me to communicate like with truckers and stuff like that. Now, am I going to communicate with them all the time? Am I going to have like the candy cane moment? Absolutely not. But it is nice to have that because truckers do talk about like what's going on the road. And sometimes that's super important, especially if you're going to roll up on a wreck. Let's see. Have a fantastic day, everyone. Have a fantastic one, Lisa. My first car was a 69 Mustang. Nice. Mine was a 96 Mustang. No, it was a 94. 94, not 96. 94. It was the year when they... like the last year for the lights that looked like this. I go camping in a tent in Payson. Nice. I haven't been to Payson yet. Everybody says I need to go up that way, so I might make it to Payson yet. Let's see. Yikes. I'm building out a micro van. Nice. I never seen a bear while I'm camping. You know, while I'm camping, I have not seen one. I have seen some on some trails and stuff like that. I've always tried to keep my safe distance from them. I always have paid attention when the signs tell you what you should do at the park while you're hiking. And with the exception of the fact that sometimes they say you shouldn't solo hike, I still solo hike, but I make sure that I'm making loud noises so they know I'm coming, so that they are not like scared whenever I pop up. They are already long gone before I get there because I do what they say. I'm also that person who, whenever I used to hike by myself, a lot of people like to hike and enjoy all of the natural sounds, and I completely understand that. But whenever you're realistically hiking by yourself, they tell you that you need to be making more noise because you are by yourself, so it's a protectant. So I used to have I still have it actually, it's in the back. I have this little Bluetooth speaker, and I'll play music just so it generates sound. So I'm sorry if you've ever been on a trail where I've been when I've had music. It's because I'm trying to protect myself by letting things know I'm there. Let's see. It skipped on me, guys. It skipped. Okay, we're getting back to perspective here. I've only seen raccoons camping in Wisconsin, so I've seen so many raccoons. In fact, that's why I have my outdoor lights, because of raccoons. Hello from Southern California. Hello, hello, hello. Make sure they are thoroughly checking dimples. Absolutely. So not only have I documented all the issues with it in way of video and photo, but I've also contacted my personal insurance to let them know just in case. And I asked them if there's anything else I needed to do. That was a big thing. So everything is just waiting for the other insurance to contact me, and I can zip it over to them, and maybe we can get this ball rolling. Personally, I really enjoy watching your videos on reorganizing. Well, there will be a great video on reorganizing, as I'm going to have to take everything out. I'm not looking forward to that. A lot of people think that just because I have a tiny van, I must not have very much stuff. I have so much stuff, guys. Between the things that I use on a daily basis, the clothes that I carry, the emergency equipment that I have, the ability to be able to film videos, edit videos, the things that I have so I can go from cold weather to warm weather, things that I need for just everyday function. So much stuff in this tiny space. In fact, I would definitely say I am not a minimalist, and that is okay. I'm fine with not being a minimalist, but whenever it comes to my van, it means that I have to be more creative with how I place things. So you would never know that I have this stuff that I have in the van unless you were physically going through all of it, because I just try to keep it where it doesn't look super cluttered. That would make me insane. The Bluetooth speaker is something that a park ranger actually kind of encouraged me to do. I was hiking in an area where he said that there were some critters and that I should be making some noises if I'm hiking by myself. And I was like, what do I do? Like, I talked to myself already because I'm doing YouTube. He's like, it needs to be a persistent sound. That way, if you happen upon like a bear and they hear the sound, they're more likely to move away because they don't want to interact. The critters are not wanting to see you most of the time as an adult human. Now, if you were a tiny person and you looked more like a child, the critters would want to interact with you more because they see you as prey. But the average person, they don't see as prey unless they are in a situation where it's unavoidable for them, and then they will defend. And so he told me, he said, if you have a Bluetooth speaker or something, he said, just turn it on and make sure that there's something coming out of it the entire hike. And so what I would do is I would go, and at the time I was filming on my cell phone, so I'd have a song playing, and then as soon as I would record, it would turn off, I'd speak, and then as soon as I would turn off the recording, the sound would come back out again. So it was like a constant ongoing thing. And so I know that did annoy some people when I happened upon them on the trail, but we would interact for like a second and a half, and then I'd move on. And I can see it as, I want to be safe. I don't want to be sorry. So if a ranger told me to do it, we're doing it. Let's see. My dog and I wear a bell. That's smart too. Especially considering that your dog is a critter. That way it kind of alerts the animal in advance so it can be cleared out so that it doesn't see your dog as like a, ooh, look at the morsel. Because that would be so bad. Let's see. Personally, I enjoy, okay, we lived in it. Was driving alone at night as a travel nurse to get a job. It was pouring rain in the mountains and I used CB following a trucker and he helped me. Yes, absolutely. I think that a lot of times it's kind of like people perceive people in vans as, oh, they're homeless. A lot of people perceive truckers as, oh no, they're dangerous because they've heard stories. That doesn't necessarily mean that all truckers are dangerous people. It doesn't mean that all truckers are bad people. In fact, most truckers are really cool people. A lot of people won't stop at truck stops because they're like, it's not safe because there's all these raping and pillaging people. No, no. I would like to encourage you guys to understand that truckers are full-time people on the road, passing around in the same way that we are, just in a different kind of vehicle. It's not that they're doing it for the adventure and the fun. A lot of times they're doing it for the purpose of work. However, they have some really great insights. They have some really great things that they do say over the CB. Whenever you go to a truck stop, as long as you're not sitting there expecting something crazy to happen, it's probably not going to happen. So just kind of mind your surroundings always. Now, there is a difference between you pulling into a Flying J, Pilot, Love's, or Petro station and you pulling into this dark, dingy, creepy place. I mean, that's common sense. Pull into a place that's well lit, that you feel comfortable in, you will be fine. Pull into a place that's gross, you might not feel comfortable. It just is what it is. But truckers aren't to blame for that. Like, it's just like anything else. They're there to do a job. They most of the time are just average, everyday, normal people, and we want to make sure that we're respecting them on the roads just like we want them to respect us on the roads. So truckers are good people. Let's see. I like that you keep your space organized and clean. Sometimes it's not so clean. Sometimes it gets a hot mess. Right now it's a little bit all over the place because I didn't fold up my top blankets this morning and I just left them on the bed. So when you look in, it's like, I should have done that. However, I didn't, and it is what it is. Also, I haven't put my laundry away yet. It is what it is. But realistically, where I have my laundry and how I do my laundry, whenever I do my laundry, I also wash my one laundry bag so I can just put the clean things directly back inside of it. So it's no different than if I have the dirty laundry in the laundry bag. It sits in the same spot. It's just it needs to be put away. But I think that in a small space especially, having organization is so helpful. If you just throw everything in, it's so overwhelming and it instantly makes you not feel good. Let's see. I'm excited to watch the video when it comes out, when you're talking about stuff in your van. Yes! So again, kind of recapping, I'm going to be doing a kitchen video before this because a lot of people have been asking me what's in my kitchen setup. So I'm going to be showing everything that I have in my kitchen setup. I'm also going to be talking about the things that I use the most versus the things that I don't use very much. So people can kind of get an idea of realistically what it is to be in my personal van. Every person's different. Every person has different things that they want to do. But I hope that this can be helpful to them. And then it'll also direct people to the things that they are interested in, like my kettle, how many watts it takes, how much water it holds, things like that. And so I hope it'll be helpful. But then we're going to do the one where we're reorganizing everything after taking everything out, and that's going to be chaos, but it'll be okay. Let's see. Hello, Charlie Grace. Hello, hello, hello. Amazon sells a bear bell. Nice. I also do encourage everyone to get some bear spray. Just do it. I have one that hangs out in the van, and then whenever I go on hikes, I can just clip it to my pants, and then we're good to go. It's just worth it to have it, and if you wait until you get to a place like a national park, you're going to end up spending a little bit more for it. So just get it in advance on Amazon. It's hard being in a truck with crazy drivers. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Do you like hearing or telling scary stories at campfire? So I try to keep negativity out of my life whenever I'm on the road. And don't know if Riley's still in here. She enjoys true crime. I enjoy true crime. However, I make it a point to not watch true crime when I'm in my van on the road, because I think that to some extent that puts you at a heightened awareness and also a paranoia. And so I try not to do that to myself, because when you're in the middle of the night and it's completely dark outside and all of a sudden something goes bump in the night, you instantly go to that place of worst case scenario because you put that in your brain. So instead of doing that, I try to put positive things into my brain. I try to not do the scary stuff unless I'm in a place that I know I can lock a door, close a door, have a bigger barrier, stuff like that. Let's see. My dad was a trucker. Yes. Again, so many good people are truckers. In fact, I have several truckers who follow the channel because I've used the Road Pro and I talk about places that they go to and they're interested. And I've never had a negative experience with a trucker, literally ever, in my entire 6 years. Let's see. Place for everything, and everything has a place. Yes. Yes. Like, I think if we just put those general things into like the atmosphere of, hey, we're going to start off with making our bed. Instantly, your van is so much cleaner because you made your bed. And then if you put things every time that you cook, if you just go ahead and like put away the things that you didn't use instead of leaving them out, then yeah, you have to pull it back out to put the things that you did use. But in the meantime, that's out of the way and it's tucked away so you're not having to stare at all this extra stuff. Now, there's some days whenever I literally will cook late and I won't feel like doing my dishes. It happens. It's just like regular life. Sometimes you let them sit in the sink overnight, and sometimes you look at them the next morning and go, why didn't I just wash this? But normally what I'll do is, especially if I cook something that has like a greasiness to it and I need it to really come clean, I'll put a nice degreaser on it overnight. I'll close it down. I'll put it in the front seat, like in the floor or in my sink, and I'll put it there. And then the next morning I'll do everything and then I can just put it directly away. But the main thing is I don't want it to be in my living space while I'm trying to relax, because the only thing I will think about is what I can see. And so I try to keep anything that isn't something I directly need out of my living space while I'm trying to be in my relaxed zone. Considering that I only have like 30 square feet back here, like you learn to kind of, okay, I need to put stuff up, because otherwise immediately you will just be like, ah. Let's see. Most long haul trucks have GPS tracked by their employers. Absolutely. That's another thing. Like, a lot of people don't put into place all of the thoughts that go behind what all they're doing. Like, used to, and times have changed, but used to, they would have some people who would try to do extra loads and they'd run 2 sets of books. Well, they've made it super hard for people to do that now. They also used to readily at any truck stop have every single kind of no-dos available, because they knew people were going to go over the amount of hours they're supposed to be on the road. Again, there are some people who still kind of get around this and do this now, but for the most part, the regulations that have been put into place to keep that from happening are to protect us as motorists, but also to protect the drivers. So most people aren't trying to do those things these days. So, you know, truckers aren't bad. We just want to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not all bad boogeymen who are out there driving around in big trucks trying to run us off the road. It's not the case. It's just not the case. Let's see. Completely agree. I avoid listening to scary camp stories, podcasts when camping. Yes, absolutely. Sandra says her grandpa's uncles and dads were all truckers. I always feel safe at truck stops. I always stop at truck stops. Yes. See, that's just the thing. And I've learned that, like, whenever you go to a truck stop, a lot of people have, especially whenever I did a shower video, they just instantly freak out. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're taking a shower there. You're going to get harmed. I've never had a bad truck stop situation ever. Again, avoid the creepy, skeezy looking ones. Go to the good ones. And yeah, you're going to end up spending a little bit more for a shower, but at the same time, guess what? They have people who literally clean them. They have people who literally make sure that the locks work. They have people who literally watch the cameras to make sure nothing bad happens. And then you also have the truckers who are just there to get their shower and get out because they need to sleep their little bit before they have to hit the road again. So for the most part, it's not what most people make it out to be. Hello from Puerto Rico. Hello, hello, hello. Oh my goodness. Wow, guys. So we have been on here for 123 minutes. What? I have really enjoyed chatting with all of you. Again, this is more so just kind of like a live update, to get on live while I have a little service, to talk to you guys, to chit chat. And I really like videos like this where we get to just sit down and actually talk, because we get to cover such a variety of different subjects, which is really cool. I'm going to try to do another live probably next week sometime, and so you'll get to see me again. I'm going to try to run down some of the things that are going on, and a couple of updates before I leave. Again, Brock's computer is broken. That's why he hasn't been doing his missing people thing on Nomad News, but he should be back soon on that. Riley is not with me because she is on a very special adventure of her own. A lot of people have been asking her as well as me why we aren't traveling together, and it's just because we're both on two different agendas right now. I'm trying to get as many things in the Phoenix area as I can because there's so many things to do, and she is on a very special thing which she'll be sharing on her channel very soon. Let's see, other than that, we will be going to Weird Wild West, so if you're coming, let me know in the comments below. They are sold out, so if you don't have a ticket, I don't know. We'll have to just link up some other time. But at the same time, there's a few other events that I'm going to be going to a little bit later this year that I'll tell you about kind of as we go. As for right now, we're still waiting on the insurance, so that's the update on the van. As soon as I find out something, though, I'll create a video and share it with you guys, or I'll jump on live, because I want you guys to kind of know the process as to what's going on, because, well, that's just life on the road. It is what it is. But for now, I'm going to head out. Thank you guys for stopping by. If you're watching this in replay, if you made it to the end, thanks guys for checking this out. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and plan something cool for the weekend, especially if you live in a sticks and bricks. Do something this weekend. It'll be fun, I promise. Remember guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. And for now, I am out. Bye!